What is going on, Internet? We are here at day 2 of our E3 coverage. As I take a sip of coffee at the wrong time. We are going to talk about Sony and Ubisoft's press conference that was from yesterday when we recorded. I know Sony had not done their press conference yet, and I think Ubisoft had just finished, so didn't really have time to talk about those. I am joined by the lovely and talented Robert.
How's it going?
I'm doing pretty good. And the greatest.
We put some honey in a drink earlier. You got a sore throat?
Yeah. No, that's what I use instead of sugar. Is honey.
Oh.
It's healthy. It's better for you.
Better for your health.
And my partner in crime from last night, Joe.
What's up, folks?
No, no.
I had a brain fart. And our new guest, Mr. John, or as his title here says, Replay Station for our E3 coverage.
Yeah, hey, salutations and namaste. What's going on, internets, webs, tubes?
Sir, watch your mouth. This is a Christian show. So like I said, we're going to talk about Ubisoft and Sony's press conference. Why am I getting...
Oh,
talk about Sony and...
Sorry, my computer's being weird. I think the YouTube page just finally went live, and I forgot that I was on it.
Okay.
Well, there's your problem.
I'm hearing like you guys all talk again.
Take two.
Sorry about that.
So like I said, we're going to talk about Sony and Ubisoft. We'll start off with Ubisoft. Did any of y'all get to catch Ubisoft's? By the time I came in yesterday, I think that I'd caught the tail end of the new trailer for The Division.
I haven't gotten to see Ubisoft. Joe, you're muted. I don't know why. Where is he? There you go. I haven't gotten to see Ubisoft's yet. I did see their stuff. The two things one thing they put in during the Sony conference and during the Microsoft conference, The Division and whatever that other one was.
And Far Cry 4.
There
Yes.
you go. Thank you.
The Division, it was kind of weird, that trailer. I mean, it was really dark and whatnot, but it was kind of weird since last year we got to see, like, gameplay. And this year they come out with this, like, CG trailer. It's all serious and stuff. I just really want that game to be out. But I'm fine with Ubisoft delaying it because I want that game, when it comes out, to be what they showed last year. Not a similar situation like with a recent Ubisoft game that just dropped with dogs that watch each other.
What game are you talking about?
Yeah. So, like, I'm still excited for that game. I still thought that was a little weird that, it was just a CG trailer. But let's talk about that Far Cry 4 trailer that played in the Ubisoft press conference.
Looked pretty sweet.
Yes, I thought it was cool that, like, the trailer, or in the trailer, you're supposed to take out, like, these two trucks. So you take out one, and then you're, like, driving towards the other one in this little, like, three-wheel vehicle, and you jump in, you stab, like, both dudes, and you're driving off, and then some guys are still going at you. Well, you're on the side of this mountain and just drive off the cliff like you lose control. Well, you jump out, guess what? You have a wingsuit. And so
if at the beginning when he picks up the backpack, it says pick up wingsuit.
You've also got a grappling hook.
That's true. I can never figure out how in these games they want to explain that your grappling hook just lets go. Because he grappled it up all over and then just keeps running, and he's still got his grappling hook.
Yeah, you have perfect accuracy every time. Like, you're just a seasoned veteran with a grappling hook, and you've been using it your whole life.
Indiana Jones over here.
Yeah, that's what happened. He grew up watching a lot of Indiana Jones movies, and
isn't the main character in all of the Far Cry games supposed to be like just kind of a normal guy who just kind of gets stuck in a situation and happens to be a professional with a grappling hook?
Yeah, because even in the first one, you go back and think of it, he was a journalist.
Yeah.
No, the second one, he was a mercenary.
It felt very reminiscent of Just Cause and Just Cause 2.
With malaria.
Yeah, the thing that struck me most about it was the scenery when it kind of really opened up. Because I mean, when you think Far Cry, you think kind of tropical island, a
Right.
lot of water, a lot of greenery and stuff like that. And the scenery, of course, looking really good on the next gen consoles. But just kind of that Himalayan atmosphere really kind of gives you a sense of this is going to be crazy open exploration as opposed to just being stuck on an island, and also kind of a sense of loneliness and dread because I mean, it's kind of cold, a lot of dark colors, you know what I mean? But it's kind of more of essentially more of the same of American guy killing all sorts of ethnic people from their native land. But it still looks really fun.
That part definitely, when they opened up and it was like the Himalayas and stuff, it reminded me of what was it, Uncharted 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of that, and like the new Tomb Raider a little bit, you know.
A little bit.
Oh
Like
man,
that
I
scene
love
when-
the name of that new Tomb Raider game.
Yeah, that scene when you bail out of that little three-wheeled vehicle, though, and you're just on the wingsuit soaring down through the valley, that
Mhm.
looked awesome.
And then you just especially when you open up in the mountains and you're up in that moment, you're kind of thinking, okay, this is gonna be small-ish, it might be just limited to the mountains, and then the mountains just kind of open up when you slide through. You're like, nope, this is pretty big.
And I mean, and it looks like with your wingsuit, they could have just dropped in anywhere and just picked up random adventure at any point. And just started, just drop in this place and just start killing random people here or kill random people here. Just kill everyone everywhere.
Well, that's something Ubisoft, like in the last few years, seems to be doing. In whether you like it or hate it, I kind of like it that because everybody puts their hands on every game. You do see concepts from other games coming, and there'll be something touch up more later in the new Assassin's Creed Unity, but. The last thing about Far Cry that I thought was crazy, and I think this was in Sony's this was in Sony's press conference, but I mean,
Far Cry was
when they said, "Oh, hey, I need help," and your buddy comes in his little weird helicopter thing,
the little jalopy copter.
Yeah, and then like these elephants are just like raging and knocking over everything.
Weaponized animals. I'm still wrapping my head around that one.
And then they go, oh, by the way, if you have the game and want to play multiplayer with your friends, they don't need it.
Right?
Boom.
Yeah.
Only on PlayStation though. That was the best part. Is that only on PS4? Your friend on PSN that doesn't have the game, you can invite him to play. He doesn't need a copy. Totally sick.
Yeah,
I was watching that.
All right.
I was watching that, and I audibly was like, "What?" And everybody upstairs is like, "What in the world is going on?" I'm like, "Sorry."
Well, my brother set up a brand new PSN account the other day to play Dynasty Warriors with me. So I could buy that game and just totally invite him in on the same machine. I'm guessing. I don't know if that'll work like that or not, but if he's got a PS4, he'll be able to play.
Well, what I think is cool, and it kind of shows, like I was excited last year when Xbox talked about the whole like family network thing, where if I owned the game and you was on my family list, you could play it while I wasn't playing it. Like I thought that was cool, and it's just one of those things where it's like this year with both big press conferences seemed that. Hey, let's try and fix what we did wrong. And Sony was like, hey, that idea Microsoft had about being able to share games that way, that seems cool. Let's see if we can't get something like that, but do it better for the gamers. Mm-hmm. And that kind of happened. And so they also, Ubisoft also knew Just Dance, but who cares?
There's one every year.
Yeah, to me, Dance Central is a better dance game series. I've never been able to get into Just Dance. I like Dance Central better. Talked a little bit about The Division. The Crew, okay.
I don't. The Crew's the driving game, right?
Yeah, that's the one where it starts from like Miami and you're driving to Los. Apparently, you're from coast to coast. You can drive from coast to coast.
Kind of a gumball rally kind of deal, but like in a social networking atmosphere. I think Drive Club is going to end up scratching that itch that people are going to have for that type game.
Yeah, but the next big game. This was actually somebody had asked us about this last night. Was the new Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed Unity. Saw a little bit of it in the Microsoft press conference. We did touch on that yesterday about how it's 4-player co-op. But they said some things about how they could possibly be changing, kind of the way you hit things. And I think basically what that was, if you saw the part in the conference where you go out the window and like they hit a button and it just shows in the world like the different little mini missions and stuff you do. So I have a feeling that you won't be going to a map anymore and like, okay, I need to get this hidden treasure, so I'm going to click on it and now it'll show up in the world and I can do it. It's just going to be all active right there. And I think, you also saw that, like you said, in Far Cry where when it opened up, it seemed like you could just turn, pick a point, and walk to it and shoot people in the face.
So, I mean, do you think that a way to play a game that way would make it more immersive or kind of subtract from it? You know what I mean? Like as opposed to checking a map and seeing where a mission would start and not really be bothered with that kind of thing popping up in the world that you're in.
See, I hope that is something you can take off because I tell you what I liked last year with Black Flag, I had my tablet with the second screen, and that was where my mini map was. And so anytime if I was in a town or something, because it would follow along and track what I was doing, I could grab my tablet and be like, oh, look, there's a music note. Yes, I want a new pirate shanty. I need a new song stuck in my head. And I would click on the tablet, and it would put the marker on the game.
Huh.
And so I hardly ever hit the little touchpad to bring the map up that way. So I like that. I would rather keep doing that instead of just having everything in the map. Because, it does take away to me. Like, I liked that there was that trend a few years back where you'd play a game and it had no heads-up display.
Yes.
Like, Gears of War was a great one where the more damage you take, the red cog would come up in the middle. So, I do hope that's something that you can take off. I'm still interested to see exactly how the 4-player co-op is going to work, because if at the end of that trailer, after you I lost video. Okay. After you kill the one guy off of the guillotine, like the other 3 assassins show up.
Yeah, you think that would just be drop in or?
Yeah, see, that's what I'm wondering, if it was just drop in or if they was off over here doing other side missions, because it did also seem like you could go straight to the main mission. But if you did some of the other side missions, it might make the main mission changed, or it might be easier because now you have the crowd more on your side or something. So I'm wondering if those guys just showed up, or if they was, like I said, already in the world but running off doing other missions.
Well, I don't know, that kind of setup seems really cool, and drop in, drop out gameplay kind of seems like the wave of the future of co-op or whatever. I mean, personally, being a retro gamer, I like, local multiplayer things, but I mean, besides that, you think of a developer like Ubisoft in a game series like Assassin's Creed, and they're doing the yearly dev cycle now. How long do you think they can keep up innovating like this? Because, I mean, eventually they've got to run out of steam of good ideas to bring to every E3 and, like, look, we have 4-player co-op, and the next is going to be 62 assassins inside of one game all playing co-op at the same time, just everybody kill each other with hidden blades. Like, I mean, how long can they keep this up?
Yeah, I mean, with Assassin's Creed, like 3, I didn't really dig. 4 kind of brought me back into it. But the one thing I still kind of irks me about Assassin's Creed is they had a foundation set, and then when that series kind of kicked off and became the big series, they kind of changed the story, because eventually, you was going to get to a game where it was modern day and you was playing as Desmond.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was the whole, or unless we just completely misread the clues in the old games, but that was like the whole reason they was still putting him in the Animus, was to not only learn what the Pieces of Eden was, he was learning the combat moves of his ancestors.
Yeah, and it's like they figured out, like, hey, this series is super popular, so let's just create a bunch of loopholes in the storyline so we can extend everything.
Yeah.
You know?
That's why I'm almost interested to see, like, it really wouldn't surprise me if Watch Dogs started out as, like, that Assassin's Creed game.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, like, when they realized, no, we can milk this for a lot more, they went off and changed that story.
Believe it.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Games and movies happen nowadays.
and I don't know about y'all, but I was actually, because I'm one of the few gamers that like the Kinect, I was kind of excited. I kind of thought Shape Up was pretty cool. It's their new, like, little fitness game thing, but it's all mini games. I think they kind of realized that what drives people when they buy the fitness stuff on the consoles is that you want it gamey. Like that's why I play Dance Central more than I do.
You're gonna smell gamey.
That's why I play Dance Central more than I do the workout games, because
You need to get a Twitch account, Ryan, and do some Dance Central streams.
do some dance lessons.
I mean, like, I kind of relate that to my situation where, like, I'm like a hardcore DDR player from way back. Like, I love stomping on arrows, man. And the whole fitness aspect of it is kind of just a byproduct of how fun the game is.
Yeah.
And you see all these, like, super serious workout games, EA Active, and like Mel B from the Spice Girls had her own fitness game for PlayStation Move. I mean, just stuff like that just instantly gets chucked into the bargain bin. Nobody takes it seriously. If people wanted to get in shape with fitness stuff, they would just get a gym membership, you know?
Yeah, so Shape Up showed like the first game they showed, it looked honestly a lot like Amplitude or something, as far as the way the colors and the buttons came up, or more like Rock Band. But it was keyboard game. You know, like the giant keyboard, like in the old movie Big. Well,
That's a throwback.
Yeah. And so you're jumping around and you're playing the song as the notes come up. Like, you're having to jump side to side and then jump up and down and stuff. And there was one where, like, you compete against somebody else who can do the most push-ups in like 2 minutes.
That would be a hit in frat houses with bros.
Yeah, and so it's like you said, like, I can sit here and play. I had a friend before she moved, like, she'd come over all the time and we would play Dance Central, and played for like 2 hours one day. I'll tell you what, this fat dude was pretty tired after playing Dance Central for that long. But it's fun. I would try one of those workout games, and like 20 minutes, and like, you know what? Yeah, this is boring.
I'm kind of with John. In college, my roommate and I, we were on the second floor of our dorm. We must have driven the guys that lived under us nuts, because we went through a spree where we were doing DDR for like 3 hours a day.
Yes, sir.
And I tried some of this stuff that they packed in on the Xbox One, you know, where you can do some of these with the Kinect on days that it was, you know, I was snowed in or something. I don't want to go back to those.
Yeah, like the Xbox Fitness stuff. I've done some of those, and they're cool because they do give you like gamey rewards for like doing it. Like, you get this little progress bar, and you can get achievements in doing it and stuff. But it's still not as fun as like fluttering around looking dumb playing Dance Central or Kinect Sports. And then the next game, I'm super excited to see. This is the first time I'd heard about it. Was Valiant Hearts: The Great War.
They're doing that with the same art engine that Oh,
Child
what is
of
the
Light.
Child of Light? Yeah.
Yeah, it's the
Child of Light.
UbiArt framework. It's also the Rayman is made with the UbiArt framework engine. And what's cool with it is it's inspired by actual letters from World War One soldiers.
Oh wow.
Oh,
And
I
so
didn't realize that.
the way they tie the story together is, I don't know if you're going to actually play as the dog, but there's this dog that runs it, like becomes the, like each of the four soldiers becomes the owner of the dog for a moment in their life.
So you kind of follow the path of the dog as he kind of changes owners and kind of touches different soldiers' lives.
Yeah, yes, it's very watchful.
it's like Call of Duty Ghosts, but sentimental.
Yeah, and
that comes out the end of next month, right?
What, Valiant Hearts?
Yeah.
Yeah, July 25th.
Okay.
And then the last game they showed off, which was awesome yet a little disappointing because I wanted Rainbow Six Patriots, but Rainbow Six Siege. I do like the fact that it seems Ubisoft's trying to bring back some of this old stuff and old ways of playing, and you saw that a little bit when the Siege trailer started off. They had the map, and they was like, okay, we could go in this route, or we could go this way, because we ran the robot, and they're trying to. You see, they're held up in the second floor in this side of the house, or we can do a roof extract. And so I like that because I do miss the, like, I remember playing the original Rainbow Six, like Rainbow Six 1, not Rainbow Six 3, where most people started playing on like original Xbox, and it would sit there and have my 4 teams and have blue team's route planned out and red team, and it was so cool. You going through playing, and you break open a door, and there you see blue team upstairs clearing, and everybody's finished their mission, their part of the mission, and you've rescued the hostage and taking everybody out. So it seems like the new thing this year is co-op.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that would be another cool aspect of like true 4-player co-op in like a Rainbow Six style game. Did it also seem that it could be that this might just be some sort of multiplayer kind of only thing, and one team's going to play as the Rainbows and the other team might be the bad guys?
I'm sorry, but calling your squad the Rainbows doesn't sound very threatening to the bad guys.
That's the point. They're like, really? Rainbows?
Yeah.
What are y'all?
Rainbows and daisies.
Yeah, why don't we call ourselves the unicorns?
What are y'all, of that style of living? And then they pull out a gun and shoot him in the face. Like, you thought wrong.
The sky.
Because it did seem like it could be a multiplayer thing. When they drop down and you see the like 5 blue guys and the 5 yellow guys. So yeah, so I don't know. It seems like that game is going to still be pretty early in development, so it might still be a while before we see it. And that was pretty much everything that Ubisoft showed off. I mean, we didn't talk about any of the awkwardness that was during the Ubisoft press conference, but that's pretty much every year.
Yeah, really it is.
When you have a bunch of French Canadians. See, this is why we need John here, man. The other John, the Canadian.
Just need to pass him some Timbits.
Yep. All right, and now the next one we will talk about is the behemoth that is the Sony press conference.
Yes, sir.
Only one worth watching, right?
Yeah, +1 player.
I was a little disappointed that the Bloodborne trailer was not actual gameplay, especially since there was that gameplay trailer that had leaked a few weeks back.
I wasn't impressed by it.
It looked pretty choppy, but what was there was crazy gory.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
And I actually finally, and I think I talked about this some last night or recently, where I downloaded, or this might have been after the show, but I downloaded Dark Souls because it's the free game on Microsoft this month. And I tried Demon Souls years ago and hated it because I like having fun when I play video games. But playing Dark Souls, I was kind of like, you know what? I think I might understand why all these people like this series.
I'm with you there.
Was kind of fun. And so Bloodborne does have me a little excited because that is from Software, the guys that did. I think they did Demon Souls. I don't think it's the same team that did Dark Souls. I'm not 100% on that.
It's the same director as Demon Souls, I know.
Okay. Because, yeah, I don't think he was on Dark Souls and Dark Souls. Or he might have been on Dark Souls, but not Dark Souls 2. I think that was the case. Little Big Planet 3, honestly.
I've never been a big fan of Little Big Planet.
I think that trailer was a little too long, that little gameplay scene. Because I'm kind of the same way. I've never been a big Little Big Planet guy.
I've never been a very big Little Big Planet fan, but now that my nephews are a little bit older, like I kind of want to play that with them. I have 3 of them, so there's 4 characters, and it would work.
Oh, see, my oldest daughter is she's 4 years old, and Little Big Planet 1 and 2 are her favorite games. That's all she wants to play. Like, she is so hard on LBP, and seeing that announcement, seeing that gameplay, got me really super excited. It had that the little next gen touches, but really stayed true to the formula, adding the characters not just with varying designs but abilities, and incorporating that into the gameplay, and really just throughout the trailer I just saw little bits and pieces that were new, fresh, different, exciting for Little Big Planet, and then to come out and announce that all of the things, the stickers, the custom everything, all of the cool stuff that you spent so many hours collecting in Little Big Planet 1 and 2 will transfer over to Little Big Planet 3, which is super awesome. Because, I mean, that was one of the pleasant surprises of when I bought Little Big Planet 2, popped it in for the first time. I was like, holy cow, there's all my costumes and my stickers. And of course, my 4-year-old's supposed to be excited about this, but like, I really enjoy it. I mean, because if you think about it, I mean, how many game franchises are out right now that are just like family-friendly, whimsical, just whimsical and just plain fun. You know what I mean? Everything is so serious. Everything is like Bloodborne. Like, you just have to have blood squirting all over the place and gory deaths and stuff like that. And nothing that can really get the whole family engaged in a game without it being cheesy. You know what I mean? Little Big Planet is smart and funny and a little bit friendly.
That's family friendly. Let It Die from Grasshopper.
Little Big Planet's never been my go-to. That never really caught me, but I caught myself smiling through the entire gameplay section that they did during the presentation.
Agreed.
I think that game looks awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not for me.
Little Big Planet is one of those things where I look at it and I was like, man, if I had children, I would probably absolutely love this game. But it's just kind of not for me. I mean, I like platformers, and I remember playing the first one, but kind of some of the physics and the mechanics just kind of took me away from it. Answer this real quick. Logan, we will actually talk about Nintendo tomorrow night. We didn't have enough time today to touch up on them. So yeah, Let It Die, which I don't get the love for Suda51.
I don't like Suda's style personally. I've tried 2 or 3 of his games, and I cannot get into his stuff.
But which game?
Let It Die. It's the like real gross like live action trailer that they showed where
I didn't like that.
Looked like it was almost Manhunt 3.
I didn't get it. It was like I didn't know if they were going for snuff film or like cheesy PS1 FMV cutscene kind of stuff, but like it was really disturbing, and I know that they were going for that, but I don't know if there's any more room for that in the market, you know?
Yeah.
We are clearly not their target audience.
Yes. Christian gamers are not the target audience for Let It Die.
But a game that I was excited to see and kind of jumped up and down a little bit was the trailer for Magicka 2.
Were you?
Yes, I have the first one, man. I love that game.
I like how you can mix and match everything, but I haven't had a chance to get into the co-op
It is awkward to control. Like I've played it with mouse and keyboard. You can play it with a controller on the PC. It playing with controller is fine. It just takes doing all the spells like double the time than it normally would. But it's still a fun little like just cute little game that has all these like hidden messages and stuff like nods to other pop culture references and stuff in it. So really cool to see Magicka 2 coming out on PlayStation 4. I think over all the big AAA stuff, to me, because I've been falling in love with the indie games more and more, is that's where Sony's killing it.
Mhm.
They are.
You know, they've got Rogue Legacy coming out, I think later this year for PS4. We've got gameplay on our YouTube page of that. I've put I think I've put 40 hours into Rogue Legacy.
I just finished the Microsoft conference a little while ago. I watched it on YouTube, and the ID was it ID at Xbox or something? The independent thing didn't even come close to what I saw during the Sony conference in relation to indie developers.
Well, if you can,
devotion to them.
one word for Microsoft this year is catch-up.
Yeah.
True.
I have 37 hours right now in Rogue Legacy, and we'll probably try and put that much into it on the PlayStation 4 version.
Yeah, it's I've played it a little bit on Steam, and it is super fun. A lot of these awesome indie games coming from PC to make their console debut on PS4, just because Sony was able to open those avenues to indie developers. Because I do feel like Sony is kind of digging for the next Minecraft. You know, the next huge blockbuster indie game that's going to be like the biggest in the world. And one thing I got really excited about for indie games last night was that they announced that PS4 would be the first console to get Broforce and Hotline Miami 2, which are going to be awesome. Broforce is going to be fantastic. I'm really excited about it.
And for No Man's Sky.
Oh my gosh, don't get me started on No Man's Sky. It looks amazing.
That's a big get for Sony.
Really good.
And it's like we could have a whole show just talk about No Man's Sky, because just the fact that the last game this team made, and it's a small team, I think it's only like 10 guys or so, if that many, was Joe Danger.
Seriously?
Yes, the game before No Man's Sky. Yeah, where you're like doing the trick, like it's what's the other motorcycle game?
Trials.
Trials. It's kind of like Trials, but cute.
But with elements of pain.
It's like TV Trials.
And so the fact that these guys come out with a game that there's no load screens, it's just one world.
Oh my gosh, dude.
And the fact that if I'm the first person to see this creature, I can name it, and then when you see it,
it's got that name.
It'll have that name on it.
How you would develop this? Like, how would you code this?
I mean, dude,
it's all procedural.
It's all procedurally generated, so it's all
just the trailer sold me. Like for me, the game came out of nowhere. It wasn't even on my radar. I had no idea that it existed, and then just seeing this trailer of this X-wing looking spaceship just hop in. First off, the world was just colorful and vibrant and just full of life and different animal species and whatnot. And you hop into your spacecraft, take off, you can fly around your planet, and then seamlessly take off into space battle, find another planet, get down on that, fight on that, seamlessly. No load screens, it just blew me away, and the possibilities of an expanded universe for that, different planets for every PSN user. I don't know what it looks like, but I mean, just the fact that it is literally like everybody freaks out about open world games. This is an open universe game.
Yeah.
And it is indie developed. It looks fantastic. I was like, shut up, take my money. I want a PS4 now for that game.
You can get that white PlayStation 4 come September.
I want that white one. Oh my goodness, I want that white one.
Yeah,
I'll probably get that controller pretty soon.
I want that white one.
It looks fresh.
So the next three games I'll talk about kind of clump together because they all kind of fit the same theme. So they had also announced a remastered Grim Fandango, which I thought like that was another game that had me jumping up and down for excitement.
I think I'm seeing
Yeah, because that was during the like '90s era of LucasArts adventure games like
Monkey Island.
Monkey Island,
I remember Monkey
Day of
Island.
the Tentacle, those games. The Last of Us remastered.
I think it was hilarious that they wrote at the beginning, this trailer contains spoilers.
Yeah,
That was hilarious.
yeah, that was pretty funny. And
Have you all played that game?
That game
Yeah.
went for like months online with no spoilers. Like, I was on Reddit day in, day out, didn't have the game, never was spoiled for me.
And I'll just to briefly answer Logan's question about Last of Us. That's the new trend. You're going to see it more and more. There's a rumor that there's a Mass Effect trilogy remake coming to next-gen consoles. Since we can't have backwards compatibility, and it worked so well in previous gen when making HD remakes, that's just going to continue. So that's why there's a Last of Us
And I'll tell you, a
coming
big
out.
part of the reason that they're doing that, there are a whole lot more people that are picking up on the PlayStation 4 a lot quicker
Yeah.
that didn't have a PlayStation 3 last gen.
They came over from Xbox
Yeah.
Right.
and didn't
And-
have played the last.
I'll tell you, The Last of Us was one of my favorite games of all time.
Oh, it's up there. I think it's like
Then
number 3 for
You
me.
might not want to watch the Hangout where we talked about Last of Us.
I haven't seen it.
Ryan did not
I bawled my eyes out through that
like
game.
I did.
I liked it, but I'm very big on the complete story, like grabbing me, and I didn't really like the ending, and so that's why I kind of put that game.
You can
Oh,
mute
my
his
list.
half of the video and just listen to mine. You're good.
But I do have to ask this: are y'all ready to go back to that world?
That was a hard world to be in.
Yeah,
It
like
was
it's one of those games where, like, one time for like a couple years is good for me.
I won't end up picking up the HD remake because for me, I'm not one of those folks that plays back through games multiple times. I know there are people that, they'll play Final Fantasy VII or whatever once a year, every year, or whatever game. I'm not one of those that goes back and replays through stories. I don't reread books. I very rarely even rewatch movies.
I rarely read books for the first time.
Heyo.
I just
But-
watched the movie.
So that's not for me. That remake's not for me. But I'm excited for the people that will be experiencing it on the new gen.
I don't know. I mean, for me, I feel like remakes and remasters and HD remakes or whatever are just kind of a cash grab because, I mean, if somebody really wanted to play The Last of Us, couldn't they just pick up a PS3 and a copy of the game? I mean, it just came out like last year. Like,
You have a PS3 and a copy of the game. That's more expensive than making a remaster.
I mean,
and
if,
then
that's true.
Last of Us is also in a weird spot to where
John.
they also will do the like Game of the Year version of a game and have all the DLC content on it.
Yeah.
And so, because that came out at like the tail end of a console life cycle, and so I think it's a twofold thing. It's like, yeah, HD remakes are the thing, plus, hey, we need to release a Game of the Year version. Why don't we just kill two birds with one stone? It was kind of the same thing with Injustice. Like that Game of the Year edition came out around the same time as the new console launches, so they also released it on PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I'm still waiting for them to redo Gran Turismo 5, or was it 6, for
Yeah.
the PS4. I was really annoyed they didn't say anything about them at least redoing it for the PS.
the way Gran Turismo always works is that they do 2 on each PlayStation console. So PS1 had 1 and 2, PS2 had 3 and 4, PS3 had 5 and 6. So the next Gran Turismo that comes out on PS4 is just going to be 7. I don't think they're going to remake 6.
I think they're supposed to do a 7 prologue, though.
Oh yeah, they always
That's
do
what
a
I was-
prologue.
that's what I'm
Yeah,
looking
That's a money grab too, but
Right, that's what I'm looking for.
Because all you weirdos that play Gran Turismo will buy it.
Hey!
I only play the prologues because personally, ain't nobody got time to earn all those licenses and buy all those cars. Like, I understand, like, it's amazing for what it is as a simulator, but it takes way too long to do all that stuff.
Some
Like,
people have
I drive every day in real life. Like, I don't want to come home to unwind with a video game and just be like, okay, I'm driving a car now.
And speaking of driving cars, they also announced Grand Theft Auto 5 is coming to PlayStation 4, Xbone, and PC.
That is
And I
very
couldn't have
big.
been more whatever. I really did like Grand Theft Auto 5.
More whatever. That's
Well, that
funny.
was on both. That was on both last gen systems, so that's definitely a cash grab.
It's definitely because if you came from the Xbox over to the PS4,
Now, I will say
probably played it.
something I did think that was cool is they go, oh, and by the way, anybody that has character profiles on the PlayStation 3 or Xbox 360 can carry it over to the PlayStation 4 version. It was
Can
like,
I
wait, what conference are we in again?
can I just
I don't
gush
remember
as a
saying
fanboy
that.
right now?
I didn't
Like-
remember hearing them say from the Xbox.
Yeah, he totally said that, and like just as a Sony fanboy personally, I love every time they just get in a little like elbow jab at Xbox. Like at one point, they actually said they were talking about the PlayStation camera, and they were saying that we didn't require you to have it, and just like
As an
I
employee.
love that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
We've offered it as a choice for the
Yeah.
last 6 months, 9 months.
I love it.
And then, like I said, they also showed off the white PS4, the PlayStation TV's finally coming out over here. The only thing that's cool about that is that might finally give me an excuse to play Vita games or play more Vita games.
The excuse for me is that I'll be able to live stream Vita games doing that.
Yeah, that is right. That is one of the big features of the PlayStation TV. So that is cool.
I'll be able to do HDMI out and capture it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, one of my questions though about playing Vita games on the PlayStation TV is that what about Vita games that require touchscreen input?
They have said, like, at the moment, those games will not be compatible. What I have a feeling is that, because right now it's only the DualShock 3 that works with the PlayStation TV,
Yep.
I've been feeling once they release an update that allows the DualShock 4,
Yeah, but that rear touchscreen though on the Vita.
you know what, playing, see, I can't talk about this.
Secret.
I was going to say something about something I've already talked about and couldn't. It's the same thing. It's this device that PlayStation is coming out with, an open beta at the end of July. The way they do start and select. Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to talk about it. I don't want to...
Well,
Yeah.
anyways, back to the PlayStation.
There is a way where you could have half of the touchpad back touch screen, the other half front touch screen.
So you can actually have the PlayStation 4 controller touch kind of dual mapped in like different regions of the touch strip.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, another question I had about the PlayStation TV is that I was thinking, like, just seeing it and all that kind of stuff, and it's neat and everything, but I mean, with like kind of the meh reception of Apple TV and Amazon Fire TV, whatever, Kindle TV, whatever the heck they call it, Roku boxes, that kind of stuff. Ouya. Who is this for? And how does Sony even think that this is going to really work unless it's just something they're just trying to throw up against the wall and see if it sticks?
The PlayStation TV, like, my parents just bought a Fire TV and they absolutely love it. So I have a feeling the PlayStation TV could be for, like, hey, let's get Gramps and Grandpa, or Graham and Grandpa, a PlayStation TV, and then when Junior and his sister are over at grandparents' house, they've also got video games they can still play without having to take their...
Well, see, I've got a TV at home. I've got a TV. Well, I got a TV in my bedroom, TV downstairs, and I've got a TV in college. And so I've got a Chromecast, a Roku, and a PlayStation, one for each. And if I could have my PlayStation downstairs and then the PlayStation TV in my room, everything's set. I can play either place, and then my roommates will have a PlayStation at school, and so I'll take my Chromecast if I want to send anything to a TV. And so it's kind of like an all-around type thing. Like,
multiple TV houses are where that's really going to benefit, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah, especially with PlayStation Now,
Mm-hmm.
because you will be able to. I want to say the PlayStation TV can also stream PlayStation Now stuff.
Well, I mean, did they say anything about it being compatible with games that you have purchased in the PlayStation Store? I mean, will you be able to download those to whatever memory card and play them off of that? Because that would be sick.
I think with the PlayStation TV, if you have Vita games that are compatible and that you've bought in the store, possibly. I know from what I've read about PlayStation Now that it's only going to be rental through that.
Yeah, I'm very concerned about PlayStation Now. When Sony first, are we officially talking about PlayStation Now yet?
We're talking about what we know from reading about what people have said about PlayStation Now.
Yeah.
Not what some of us may or may not know.
They didn't say a whole lot about it last night, but what I'm really concerned about is when Sony first acquired Gaikai Technology a few years back, I was very excited because I was thinking like awesome cloud-based games. In my mind, I was imagining kind of a Netflix instant streaming service for a huge back catalog of PS1 and 2 and even 3 games onto your PS4, and that sounds fantastic. For you pay like one monthly rate, just like on Netflix. Probably won't be as cheap as $8 or whatever, but you'd get access to play these games unlimitedly. But is that a word, unlimitedly? But the way they made it sound in the presser last night is that PlayStation Now would pretty much just be a rental store, and I'm thinking, what's the point of just renting a game for a couple of days? Or I just kind of I hope that I'm wrong about this, is what I'm saying.
Well, if you're gonna spend the 8 to 10, whatever it is, a month for GameFly, why don't you now just use PlayStation Now? I think they're trying to take a stab at that and their rental procedures.
Yeah.
How many people actually use GameFly though?
You know what? I actually know a couple of people that use GameFly because their job, they really don't make enough money to go out and buy a $60 game, and so they only want to focus on the games they know they're getting. And so what they'll do is the games that they want to play but not necessarily didn't want to buy, they will GameFly.
Mm-hmm. And this way, PlayStation has access to their entire library of games.
Well, they only talked about PlayStation 3
more effectively.
Yeah, it's PlayStation Now is actually, I want to say, and from just kind of what they've been talking about, you can kind of piece together that it's only going to be PlayStation 3 games.
That sucks.
But there's also been rumors that they are going to announce in an update so I think Sony actually has said this, that they're looking into it, through an update adding PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 emulation to the PlayStation 4.
Which, I mean, that's fine by me. If you can parlay that into a subscription service, so this next generation can experience the thousands of games that made the PlayStation brand what it is. I mean, again, a retro guy, a PS1 fan from way back, like, kids these days need to experience Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon and
before
Tony Hawk's Pro
Spyro
Skater
became part of Skylanders.
Yeah, I mean, like all of these awesome experiences that I had when I was a kid. These next generations can now scoff at because the graphics aren't good. I want that for them.
Yeah, well, I don't know if the PlayStation 1 and 2 stuff will be part of Now or just, hey, you got all those old games still lying around. Well, now you can actually play them.
I don't know. I still don't understand why they don't just
well, with this
backwards compatibility.
This generation, at least on a hardware level, the reason they couldn't is because it was such a change of architecture. They're all x86 based. And so that's why, because even Sony came out like originally and said, look, we can't do this on a hardware level. This is what we plan on doing to scratch that itch, is PlayStation Now.
Which, I mean, if done properly, is would be pretty valiant of them. But again, I have all these consoles. Like I don't need it, but it would be nice to have like one PlayStation box. I mean, we're coming up on the 20th anniversary of the PlayStation. Wouldn't it be really cool if Sony would have just announced, like, we have the Super PlayStation, and it will accept every disc and every PSP and Vita game, and you can play them all on one box, and it will cost $3,000. You know what I mean? It was just give me that. As a fanboy, shut up and take my money.
Yeah. Let's see. There's a couple of things. They had Mortal Kombat X gameplay shown. That was pretty cool. You can tell they took some stuff from Injustice and added into Mortal Kombat, like the background interactions. That was also pretty gruesome looking. Okay, I have to ask: is it just me, or are you kind of meh about Metal Gear 5: The Phantom Pain?
Completely meh.
I've always enjoyed a proper Metal Gear, so I know I'm going to end up enjoying this.
Like 4, I loved, but I also liked 4 because it seemed like, okay, I'm putting the bow on this series. Mm-hmm. I'm done. I want to go make other stuff. I mean, I'm still going to buy Phantom Pains. I mean, because it has Jack Bauer in it.
I don't know. We haven't heard anything about that in a while, and we still haven't heard Snake's voice. I think they're going to pull the old switcheroo and bring David Hayter back at the last minute.
What I've always thought, because I think in the demo that came out, or the Ground Zeroes, that you do hear him a couple times talk. What I wouldn't be surprised, because this is Boss, this is Big Boss that you're still playing as. So, and this is supposed to be in the 80s. I wouldn't be surprised if actually somewhere Solid Snake does show up, and it's David Hayter talking.
or if David Hayter is just like a random other character somewhere.
Yeah.
Like he's just working at a hot dog stand. He's like, ugh, what kind of hot dog can I get you?
Yeah.
One with everything. Metal Gear. Ugh.
Because even if you go back to 2 with Solidus, he's a clone.
Yeah.
It wasn't the same voice.
True.
So,
but I mean, I'm trying to think of like previous like cinematic trailers like that for the Tokyo Game Show or past E3s or whatever for past Metal Gear games, and most of them are just really flippin' weird, or what I mean, just isn't really relevant to the game itself. So I'm not really shocked that Kojima would make a trailer like this that kind of makes Metal Gear look more of like a psychological suspense thriller than a tactical espionage game.
Yeah.
But I'm still gonna like it because I mean it's Hideo freaking Kojima. Like how is it not gonna be good?
I just want a Zone of the Enders 3. That's all I want. I mean.
Oh, yeah.
So the last game we'll touch on, which actually to me I think was probably before we touch on that game, Uncharted 4. That trailer looked amazing.
Yes.
Oh, dude.
And also, is it just me, or does Nathan Drake look more and more like Nathan Fillion?
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Dude! They have to cast him for a movie. If they do an Uncharted movie and don't cast Nathan Fillion, they're doing it so wrong.
They're doing a disservice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He looks pretty haggard in that trailer.
Yeah.
Also, they
always show in the trailers? I've noticed they show either the middle or the end of Nathan's journey in that game. Like in 2, they show him as he's walking away from the train after it's exploded and fallen down the cliff, which is the ending, but it's the middle and whatever. And so it's so what's it called?
Thief's End.
Thief's End.
A Thief's End, yeah.
I have a feeling.
I really don't want this to be the last one.
I think it is. And I kind of like that. As much as I like some of these games and stuff, I think there's a moment where you need to just put a bow on that series, and that's it. And then sometimes they leave them open where you can make more, but just having prequels. Like I hope that's what Gears of War, the next one's going to be, will take place in the Pendulum Wars.
Well, then I hope we have 3 sequels and a movie.
Come on, you know that down the line somewhere Sony's going to be hurting for money, and then they pull Nathan Drake out for a Master Chief, and like, let's just get some more games in there because we're hurting for money.
Put all 4 of them into one box set.
We're behind in the console war. We need Nathan Drake back. Get him on the phone now.
I'm a little surprised that they released this trailer. I'll be honest, I hated most of Sony's press conference. It wasn't what I wanted.
It was like
frustrated with it.
It started off good. Then when they started talking about powers and all that other stuff, it was like, oh, let me go fix a sandwich and do my taxes because I don't care right now. And then back to being awesome. And yeah, it's like all that stuff about powers and all their TV and all that stuff. Honestly, give that to the Comic-Con audience. That's what they're going to care about. I would have been amazed if I'd have seen powers at Comic-Con. E3, I want to see video games. I want to see trailers. That's one thing where I think Microsoft might be a little edge on Sony. I think Sony overall had more impressive games.
Better content.
But Microsoft was just like, you want
more content.
Game. You know, that's all they showed.
Microsoft built their entire thing off of remakes and remasters and of games that you've been playing for the last 10 years, and the only exclusive series that people even care about. They had to do the Master Chief Collection. They had to, or the Xbox One was going to lose terribly. And now they're in the fight still.
Yeah, and Titanfall 2, I saw it's coming out on both systems whenever it drops. But yeah, I think Sony had the better showing, but Microsoft's flowed better.
To get back to what I was saying though, all of that frustration with Sony's press conference to me was abated a bit when I saw the trailer for Uncharted. That said, I'm surprised that they did a trailer for it. There's so many big names that have left Naughty Dog recently.
Mm-hmm.
That, I mean, you know, they're hurting at Naughty Dog. They apparently have a plan for this.
I'll work for
them. Didn't they lose like their head writer for the Uncharted series?
They lost 3 or 4 of their head personnel there.
Yeah, so I mean, like without like a head writer, I mean, where does it go from here? You know,
well,
how do they even expand?
I don't know how much of the script is already done on that game. Pretty much, it should be all of it because they usually
final tweaks.
Yeah, they should because they usually just like record all the dialogue. Kind of that's the first thing they do. Because I remember when Portal 2 came out, somebody asked. Was the dude that voices Nathan Drake? Nolan North. They asked Nolan North, like, oh, how's it feel to be in Portal 2? And he's like, what? He completely forgot he was in Portal 2. But the last game I want to talk about...
It's better than asking about Ellen Page and...
Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ellen Page is in that game. Oh, that's not supposed to be Ellen Page? Oh.
Yeah. Which, to give you what, you know, they did change the way she looks, and if you see the actress that she plays, I think she actually does look a lot like her. Batman Arkham Knight, though. Oh, my goodness.
Holy cow.
Meh.
Really?
Leave.
I'm not a Batman game guy either.
Both of you.
I like Batman. I haven't really played too much of the Arkham series so far. I haven't disliked them. But that trailer, I was completely meh.
What are you talking about? That looked amazing.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, like the graphics quality of that, and the fact that like the frame rate stayed consistent. Like there's that one part where he slides down the ladder and it just turns like that, like butter.
I mean, like the trailer started, and I thought it was a cinematic trailer. I thought it was a cutscene. I thought it was CG, and it was gameplay. I mean, it looks fantastic. And I'm a Marvel guy. Like I'm about that Avengers, Spider-Man, X-Men, like that. That stuff's my jam.
I know.
I'm not into DC, but like that. It looks really cool, man. I mean, and again, we were talking about the wingsuit in Far Cry 4 earlier. I don't know. I mean, you have that open expansion of Gotham to explore as Batman kind of hovering around. But, I mean, that Batmobile, though, just, oh, gosh, it looks sick.
I've already got my Batman.
Looks so fun.
The Batman game that I'm getting this year, though, of course, that Batman game got pushed back to 2015, right?
Yeah.
I'm getting Shadows of Mordor, so I'm covered on my Batman.
See, I'm still up in there with Shadows of Mordor because I'm a very hardcore Tolkien fan. Like for years, I read the books every year, like during December, and so part of me doesn't really like the fact that they have this ranger who gets wraith powers and all this stuff. So I'm still not I'm still up in there about Shadows of Mordor. That was just
It
like
was really cool.
It took me forever to play War in the North because I was like, these people don't exist. These are not any of the books.
It has to be canon. Canon or die.
Yeah, I was like, and especially when I'm playing it and they show up at Rivendell while the Fellowship is still there. But that actually turned out to be a pretty fun game. But yeah, man, Batman Arkham Knight was pretty amazing. So with that said, I think any last thoughts on the two conferences we talked about?
Just give me more Uncharted.
Yeah, man. So Sony for life. Like seriously, if you're an Xbox fan, you're doing yourself a disservice by not getting on and getting all the awesome exclusive content, the great exclusive franchises. PlayStation 4 is just going to improve more and more and be way better than that other DVR with a controller. So hop on that bandwagon.
The only thing from the Microsoft conference that kind of pulled me towards, and I was like, kind of want to play that, was it Sunset
Overdrive?
Sunset Overdrive, yeah.
That's the only thing that was like, kind of want to play that.
I think with Microsoft, and we'll save more of this talk for like the last day. I want to do like a overall like give out our scores, even though I personally hate that who won E3, you know. But I know people like watching that, so we'll do it.
The cash cow.
I'm excited to see more and more from Microsoft. I think having Phil Spencer be the head of Microsoft and some of the other changes they've recently made overall in Microsoft is going to put them a bigger focus on games. I mean, goodness, this press conference this year talked more about video games than the last 5 press conferences Microsoft has done.
So I think Sony was missing Jack Tretton.
Oh, yeah, that new guy. Oh, and this, we'll end with this. How dare you, Sony, tease VidRibbon like 3 different times.
Wait, what?
And VidRibbon.
Okay.
Classic.
And leave us hanging like that? Come on. I was so like on the edge of my seat. Oh my god, are they about to announce a new VidRibbon? And then just have my heart jerked out of my chest. And then the new guy is like, Sony and too much hand movements. So yeah, they was
the
He
thumb.
was like, I am.
so yeah, they was definitely
the-
missing
Sony of
missing
America.
Papa Bear Jack Tritton.
Sometimes it's good to play catch up, is all I'm going to say.
Yeah. So with all that said, tomorrow we will talk about Nintendo and kind of anything else we haven't talked about, and it could be more stuff from the other conferences. There has been stuff kind of skipped over just because we talked about other stuff longer. So yeah, it'll probably be about the same time tomorrow night, so about 9, hopefully. We will.
10 Eastern.
Yeah, we'll put it on the Facebook page like right before, like when we get close to starting. So with all that said, hope to see y'all tomorrow, 5 viewers that have been watching.
Oh yeah, it was super fun. Thanks for having me on, dudes.
Logan,
No problem,
Yeah, it's
man.
fun.
Hope to see more of y'all.
thanks for coming out.
All right. The future is the past.